Guys, now that Season 9 has been live for quite a while now, I think it's finally time to have a discussion primarily about Iron Fist. That's really what I want to talk about today, because normally I don't make videos talking specifically about Iron Fist this this frequently. However, with Iron Fist specifically, I feel like I have to, because Season 9 was a fundamental shift in the game. And I think it put Iron Fist in a position that I think really needs to be spoken about. And I want to talk about why a lot of you people might feel that are watching this video, why a lot of you guys might feel like Iron Fist is not in the best spot. And I want to talk about why. However, I do want to start off by saying for the entirety of the game, for the health of the game, for the future of the game, I think Season 9 was a great step in the right direction. I think it laid down the foundations for something that's really important for them to be able to build upon it and change up the experience of everyone playing the game on a daily basis. I think the team-ups have allowed for a greater variety and expression in gameplay across most ranks of the game, okay? Most ranks. This is where it gets a bit iffy, and this is like primarily where a lot of you guys are maybe playing certain heroes, not just Iron Fist, okay? I know I'm talking about Iron Fist, but this does apply to other certain heroes. I'm just kind of using Iron Fist as the case study example for today's video. But there are lots of heroes right now where, I guess I'll just be honest about it, all right? What happened was, do you guys remember when there was a full dive season and Iron Fist wasn't really good? And I made a video talking about it, and the main takeaway from that video was that Iron Fist is simply outclassed in a season that was supposed to be meant for him. If that was one takeaway from the video, it would be that. He was simply outclassed by the better divers. Much can be said the same about this season now. He is simply outclassed by far. As good as the rework might have been for Black Widow, I'm hesitant to say they should nerf her, because, good lord, it's about time she's finally a strong hero. However, she's very strong. And then you look at Elsa, who was really strong last season. And now Elsa gets a trap that lets her almost guaranteed land a pick if she lands that trap. So you have Black Widow now, that's top of the meta. Elsa, top of the meta. Hela, they just shadow buffed her bird as well, as on top of giving her a really good team-ups. Hela's now top of the meta. Sure, Phoenix and Cyclops were brought down to a much more manageable level, but how many more heroes took their place? We now have Hela. We now have Black Widow, we now have Elsa, we now have Bucky, and we now have Namor with his Gamma Squid. And this is one of the biggest problems. On top of all that, you also have triple support, which I hear like Iron Fist and I hear like Daredevil, a lot of melee characters in general aren't very good into. And now you have to also fit in a Mantis ban, because people are now realizing how good Mantis is after they buffed her, and she's being played really frequently. So if you want to make Iron Fist work, oh, don't forget the Penny getting 2 mines now by default. There's just such a large list of things that simply far outclass you. It makes me genuinely, and guys, I'm talking from a competitive standpoint, okay? This video in particular, I'm talking from a competitive standpoint, not really a, quick play or a really low rank perspective where things are very different, okay? I'm talking about a middle to high rank, more competitive point of view. And it genuinely feels like you can't ban everything you have to ban. And this is a big problem, because in previous seasons, the path was so much more clearer. You could let Gambit slip through if it meant you got rid of Phoenix and Cyclops. Like Cyclops and Phoenix, if you got rid of them, sure, there was Elsa, but she wasn't crazy. Sure, there was Bucky, but he wasn't as crazy as he is now. People didn't play Hela that much. He didn't feel that threatening. Namor didn't have his Gamma Squid. People weren't playing Mantis as much as they were now. And same thing with Penny as well. Penny wasn't played nearly as often. She still was, and she was still a good ban. But oftentimes, the two bans were pretty clear. Cyclops, Phoenix. But sometimes the other team would ban either of Cyclops or Phoenix. So you actually have a pretty good diversity in bans. Like, you would put in a Phoenix ban, the enemy team might ban Cyclops. Everyone felt the same. He was pick or ban. So you put in those 2 poke bans, then you had the freedom. Penny, Gambit. Maybe an Elsa ban, maybe a Thing ban if you're going to be playing like Black Panther. And so there was much more diversity. Now, there is such a large list of top tier meta. And I think the biggest reason is we can look at the team ups, right? There is something I've been adamant about, and I mean, I could go through all of my reasoning, but I genuinely feel like the Iron Fist White Fox enhanced team up, okay, enhanced team up is the only way that Iron Fist can feel like he is a good pick in this season. If you're in if you're watching and you're maybe a quick play enjoyer or you're in a much lower rank, the Thing team up is great, guys. It's great. It enhances your ability to dive. But as you get to higher ranks, you will eventually start to notice that little bit of extra damage really doesn't matter because they just out-heal it. It's just, you're doing the same dive as you were before, but with 20 extra damage or 30 extra damage, and they simply out-heal it. It doesn't really change much. But when you look at a hero like Bucky, what does Bucky get? Bucky gets an Elsa-like instinct bar that fills pretty quickly, that lowers all of his cooldowns, every cooldown substantially. What does that do for Bucky? On a base kit, without Elsa in the lobby, his base version is all of his cooldowns are reduced, so he has faster, larger damage output on top of more overhealth regeneration. On a base level, that raises his power level up from already being a strong hero to being an even stronger one. Let's look at a hero like Namor. His base team up is a Gamma Squid, which, let's be honest, Gamma Squid or Iron Fist Uppercut. Gamma Squid does 4 times the damage of the Iron Fist Uppercut at a range, and you can just throw it whenever you want, and you can throw it, you can even dive with it. I would argue diving with a Namor Gamma Squid is more effective than that uppercut and Thing combo together, okay? So as you go up the ranks, you'll start to feel like your ability to dive a little bit better doesn't really matter when they just out-heal it anyways. It doesn't really matter. So the enhanced White Fox team up lets you soft dive so much better. You can fly in, fly out. You can heal your tanks. You can heal anyone diving with you. You can peel flawlessly with that extra healing. Not to mention just your movement in general. If you guys watch me play or you experience it yourself, you'll notice there's no going back. Once you have the enhanced White Fox team up, it's like a breath of fresh air. You finally feel like Iron Fist. This is what it's like for Iron Fist to be a good hero. When you have that White Fox team up, you generally feel like you're a viable pick. But without it, you really struggle, and there's just too many duelists that are just too good. And there's too many things that just counter you. And so it creates a situation where playing Iron Fist every game is so frustrating, and it makes you just not want to play the hero anymore. That's why if you guys watch my streams, I try to queue with the White Fox player if I'm going to be playing Iron Fist. Otherwise, the experience isn't very enjoyable. It's so heavy poke. It's not like any kind of poke we've seen before. You have Hela Namor, you have Black Widow with any other poke. You have Elsa Bucky. It's such a high level of guns being used. We have never seen this level before. The sheer quantity of gun duelists right now that are top of the meta it's insurmountable. We've never had this before. And so I've never truly felt like I can't ban even a fraction of what I need to ban. I cannot ban out meta. I can't do it. I can't even ban out a fraction of the meta. And it creates an experience where when you're playing not just Iron Fist, but any hero that isn't meta, and you start to rise in the ranks and you start to face meta every game, because as you go up the ranks, the frequency of meta increases. That's why I say, and like as the lower you go in the ranks, the less of a problem everything I'm talking about in this video is, because you start to see a larger variety of what people are playing. But when you go up in the ranks, the percentage of games that are just hard meta just keeps increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. By the time you get to like GM, you'll start to see meta being played far more often, and it'll only increase the higher you go, and you'll start to feel like I can't ban it all. If you leave out Gambit, they might have Gambit Star-Lord, they might have Gambit whatever. Like if you ban Elsa, they're going to go like Bucky, Black Widow. It's just as oppressive. You just cannot ban all the things. And this is something I've generally never felt like. If I'm going to make an Iron Fist guide for this season, and I'm going to talk about the bans, sure, I'll be able to put like a ban priority, but I'm just going to be honest. Like you're kind of screwed in the ban phase. You cannot get rid of what you need to get rid of. It's the first season I've ever felt that way. If I were to like explain in like detail with an example, what really happened this season is they took a lot of heroes that were gun heroes or ranged heroes that were already really powerful, and they gave them really powerful base team ups. Bucky and Elsa in particular, Bucky, Elsa, and Namor are like the most clear examples here of they're already really strong, and they got cracked up team ups. And then on top of all the other poke heroes now being really strong, it creates a situation where their base team ups with no enhancement is a power raise on top of a already meta hero. And you look at Iron Fist's base kit, it's such a tiny, as far as it might feel when you're playing Iron Fist, like if you were to look at Iron Fist in isolation, okay, the scope of just Iron Fist, you're like, this thing team up is awesome, right? It's cool, it does some damage, all the new combos, the utility. But then you look at Bucky, who's already like a top tier hero, and he gets just more overhealth, more damage, just straight up every bullet. Not every bullet. All his abilities get lower cooldown with the Elsa instinct level, and so you just consistently get more damage and more overhealth. It's such a strong power raise that like that team up is equivalent to the Iron Fist enhanced team up. So it created a situation where a lot of the heroes that were already really good got better team ups than a lot of the heroes that weren't good. And so this season in particular, I think, is the greatest gap between power on the competitive level between heroes we've ever seen. They've taken heroes that were already strong and then made them even stronger, and heroes that already weren't strong are only a little bit stronger. And that is the biggest problem I have with the competitive component of this season. I said at the start of the video, and I'll say it again now for those of you guys that watched all the way through, is that for the long-term health of this game, the fundamental system change that they did is the right call. And I think a lot of people that are on the really casual end are getting a better experience this season than last season, because in most ranks that aren't super competitive, they're able to play a larger variety of heroes and have a great expression and diversity in their own gameplay, which is great. But from the competitive angle, for those of you guys that like want to take this game more competitively and start rising the ranks, it gets really, really, really frustrating. And that's my biggest problem with this season, and it's why Iron Fist feels so weak, is that his base team-ups, unless you're duo queuing with a White Fox specifically, I'm sorry guys, the thing team-up is cool, it's fun. In lower ranks, it can be quite valuable with that extra time to kill on a dive. But the higher you go in rank, the more you'll start to realize it really doesn't matter. Having a little bit faster time to kill on a dive. The higher you go, you'll start to realize it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. Not to mention, you have to have a Thing with you anyways, who already isn't really meta. Thing is okay, but he's not being played that often. Because it's a poke season, and Thing is not good into poke. So, and Thing is, White Fox is also not good into poke. So both of your enhancers are not even good into poke. If you queue with a White Fox, your experience will be so much better. But if you don't, your base team-ups just don't even come close to narrowing that power gap. In fact, you fall further behind because their base team-ups are just better. So, although Iron Fist got no changes, the meta is too strong. And the divide between the top heroes and the bottom heroes has never been this great. And I will give you guys a little bit of good news. We're really one big balancing patch away from kind of fixing that. And that's like what I want to, like, the little glimmer of hope I want to give you guys is that it's all in terms of balancing on the team ups. We're one really good, okay, now this is, I know some of you guys are like, well, Netties do it. What do you mean good patch? You know Netties. Yes, I know, but it doesn't change the fact that we are one good balance patch away from all this being fixed because the system is great. I'm happy the system is here. It's fun, it's cool. But the balancing has left many heroes completely in the gutter. Completely in the gutter, less viable than they've ever been on a competitive level in competitive ranks. That's all for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the bell for notifications so you can see when my videos are. And at least, guys, Iron Fist is getting a treat next season, so stay tuned for that. Take care, guys.